What if I told you your car's recirculate button does a lot more than just blast cold air? It actually dictates how fast your cabin chills, why your windows suddenly fog up, and whether the air you're breathing feels crisp or weirdly heavy and stuffy. Most people think recirculation is a simple loop. It just reuses the same air. But the way your car actually recycles that air is much smarter and a little more surprising than you'd think. Welcome back to the smart side, where we find clarity in the mechanics of everyday life. Today, we're breaking down the science behind that little curved arrow on your dashboard. We'll look at what's happening behind the scenes, why recirculation is a lifesaver in the heat, and the exact moments it might actually be making your drive worse. Let's start with the most common assumption. When you press that button, you probably imagine a heavy door slamming shut, sealing the car off from the world, and looping the exact same cabin air forever. But in reality, it's rarely a perfect seal. In most modern cars, some outside air is always sneaking in through tiny gaps and pressure vents. In fact, many smart climate systems are designed to mix in a small percentage of fresh air on purpose, specifically to balance humidity and keep your windshield from turning into a wall of fog. So instead of 100% recycled air, think of it as mostly recycled, with a strategic dash of outside air, tailored to the environment. Now, here's why that button feels like a turbo switch for your AC. Your air conditioner isn't actually creating cold. It is a heat mover. It's grabbing heat from the cabin and throwing it outside. Because of that, the temperature of the air entering the system is everything. If it's 90 degrees outside and your car has been baking in a parking lot, pulling in that external air is like trying to cool your house while leaving the oven door wide open. It's an uphill battle. Recirculation changes the game. It allows the system to keep re-chilling air that has already been cooled down. It makes the AC's job significantly easier, which means you get to a comfortable temperature much, much faster. But here's the twist. Left on too long, recirculation can make the cabin feel thick. When you cycle the same air over and over, two things start to climb. First, carbon dioxide from everyone's breathing. And second, humidity. Moisture from your breath, wet floor mats, or even damp clothes. That humidity is usually the culprit behind those "why can't I see anything" moments. Here is the secret. Your AC is a dehumidifier first and a cooler second. As air passes over the cold coils inside your dash, the water vapor turns into liquid, just like the sweat on a cold soda can. That is why you'll see a little puddle of water under your car on a humid day. The car is literally wringing out the air. But recirculation can be a double-edged sword. On a scorching day, it's a dream. It dries the air out quickly. But if the car is full of people, or it's pouring rain outside, recirculation can trap moisture faster than the system can drain it away. The car is basically telling you, I know you want to stay warm, but you also need dry, fresh air to see the road. That is exactly why many cars will automatically kick recirculation off the moment you hit the defrost button. The car is basically telling you, I know you want to stay warm, but you also need dry, fresh air to see the road. Now, for another surprise. That button isn't always an on-off switch. In newer vehicles, pressing recirc is more like giving the car a suggestion. The computer may still adjust the air doors slightly to manage air quality and window clarity without you ever knowing it. Because at the end of the day, your car isn't a vacuum-sealed box. Air is constantly pulsing in and out through pressure relief vents, especially when you're at highway speeds. The system is in a constant state of balance, weighing comfort against visibility and air quality. So, when should you actually use it? Here is your simple, real-world guide. Use recirculation when it is brutally hot outside and you need that initial blast of cold. Or when you're stuck behind a smoky truck, driving through a dusty construction zone, or idling in heavy traffic. It acts as a shield against those outside smells and pollutants. But switch it off, at least for a few minutes, if your windows start to cloud up, or if the cabin starts to feel stale, especially if you have a car full of passengers on a rainy day. The golden rule is this: recirc for speed and shielding, fresh air for clarity and breathing. And here's one final practical tip that catches most people off guard. If your AC just doesn't feel cold anymore, it might not be a mechanical failure. A clogged cabin air filter can choke the system's airflow, making the AC feel weak, particularly in fresh air mode. If the air feels strong in recirc, but weak in fresh mode, your filter is likely the hidden culprit. So the big takeaway is simple. Your car's AC isn't just choosing between inside and outside. It's a balancing act of temperature, humidity, and safety, often making silent moves behind the scenes to keep you comfortable. Next time you reach for that button, you'll know exactly what's happening beneath the dashboard. If you enjoyed finding a bit of clarity today, please hit like and subscribe. It truly means a lot to us, and it helps us reach more curious minds like yours.